And we're back. Full Court Press Podcast, a college basketball experience. We have part 2, episode 2, part 2, whatever you want to call it, of our conference predictions. We went strong in episode 1 of this one, and there was a little bit of disagreement.
We had difference of opinion.
Yeah, but that's
a couple
beautiful.
teams.
Yeah, and we'll see who's there at the end. So we did some great conferences. We did the Big West, we did the Big South, the Big Ten, the Big East, the ACC, the Atlantic Sun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're gonna go. Don't forget to if you love the podcast, you like the podcast, you like Sam better than me, that's cool. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Just so if you by subscribing on your favorite podcast provider, new episode comes up, it goes ding. I don't know if it goes ding, but and it's
mine.
Right,
I mean, if your sound's on, it goes ding.
Ding.
Yeah, but
you know what else when it goes ding is when the fries are done or the deep fryers. Ooh. When the air fryer's done, it goes ding. So
there you go.
All right, let's get after this, Sammy. Let's get after this. Colonial Conference. I struggled with this one because there's 2 teams I really like. UNC Wilmington 9-3. They beat Kentucky by 7. Coach Takeo Seidel is the only coach player to ever beat Kentucky. Trezarian White is a ball player. 20 points per game. January 20th, they play the other team I like, Charleston. 9-4, beat St. Joe's by 7, lost FUU by 16, lost to Duquesne, beat Vermont, lost to Wyoming, beat Kent State. Head coach Pat Kelsey is the Energizer Bunny. I love Ben Berman, and I love Renee Smith. It's a tough one because that's going to be – I'm going to watch that game. I'm almost tempted to go to it, but I don't think that's going to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Preseason, I really like Charleston. UNC Wilmington is. I think they beat a really good Kentucky team.
Yes.
In all honesty, I think it's a game that Kentucky wanted to win. Like they actually played hard and tried to win the game.
You don't think they want to win every game?
I think they do, but I mean, Kentucky's Kentucky, and I think that I do think we'll get to the SEC when we get to the SEC. But I think Coach Cal is transitioning very well throughout the season.
Yep.
I don't like the loss to Appalachian State by 30 points. I don't like picking any team that loses a game by 30 points at any part of the season. But I'm going UNC Wilmington to win this conference.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go with Charleston. I'm going to tell you why. I saw them in person against Kent State. They could be down 100 points, and I still think they can win the game. And I love Coach Kelsey. I want to get him on the podcast. And I'm wearing maroon.
There you go.
All right. If UNC Wilmington wins the conference, I won't be surprised. But I'm going to go with Charleston. The other team you want to look out is never knock out or never not expect the Blue Hens. Delaware, 8-5.
Delaware, man.
They beat Xavier by 7, and they lost to Princeton by 2. Martin Inglesby, he was a nice little player back in the day. Talk about Full Court Press Podcast legends.
Yeah, Delaware's got a strong team. I think they're third in the conference.
Yeah.
So losing to Princeton by 2 is nothing to be ashamed by. Beating Xavier, I think there's too many teams have beat Xavier, so I'm not really counting that
like
one.
Louisville. Louisville and DePaul.
So I'm like, but to your point, it's Delaware, and that's what makes conference play so exciting, right? Is Delaware could beat UNC Wilmington, could beat Charleston. Maybe it comes down to a last game and doesn't move Delaware up in the polls, but it knocks one of these guys out, right? Yep. So
okay, so you've got UNC Wilmington, the Seahawks, and I have Charleston Colonials. For the Colonial Conference. All right, let's go to Conference USA, which we're familiar with. This game, the tournament's pretty much going to go on January 6th. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, versus Liberty Flames.
Yep.
2 teams. You got Western Kentucky's 10-3 losses to Wichita State. Canisius, the Griffins, and then UNC Asheville. Coach Steve Lutz, comes from good pedigree. His dad was a good coach. Don McHenry, 14.9 points a game, and Christian Lander, who I really like, 10.3 points a game. Liberty's 11-4 losses to Grand Canyon, who's hot, Charleston, and FAU. Kyle Rohde, 13.2 points per game. Need more production from Zach Cleveland, and I really like Caden Matheny. He's averaging 11.9. They just lost to Alabama by 45 on Saturday. That worries me, Coach Rich McKee. What's going on? I am going to go with Western Kentucky.
All right.
I'm going Liberty. It kind of hurts me to say that because I really like the Liberty team.
I like Liberty too.
Liberty. Sorry,
you gave Liberty a lot of shout outs in your mid-major
stuff this year,
right? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you're going Western Kentucky with all the love you've shown Liberty this year.
I got a speeding ticket once in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's why. That's the only reason why.
I'm going Liberty. I think that they had again, from Conference USA, first half of the season. I think that they had a pretty tough schedule in all things considered. The losses that they have to Grand Canyon, Charleston, FAU, and Alabama, they're all four good teams, so I'm picking Liberty to come out of Conference U and go dancing.
Yeah, if they win it, I won't be surprised. But I'm going to pick Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers.
Yep.
All right, the Horizon League.
Ooh. What do you know a little bit about the Horizon League?
I know that's the old Midwestern Collegiate that I somewhat starred in, I guess one could say, or not. Ooh. It's easy to star from the bench. I didn't look at the bench warmer, but anyway, here nor there. But I mean, if it was before the season, I would have said Wright State. We've had him on the podcast. Love Trey Calvin. I love Coach Nagy. His dad was a good dude. But I think they're just struggling.
Really?
So I've got two teams here, and I'm actually going to go to that game. It looks like Fort Wayne, the Mastodons, not the Masterdons. The Mastodons are 11-2. Play against Wright State on Saturday. They've lost to Pittsburgh and San Francisco, who's a really good team out of the Western Collegiate Conference. Jalen Jackson and Rasheed Bello lead the Mastodons with 14.5. Anthony Roberts, 14 points. And 5'8", Quentin Morton Robinson, who's a little energizing bunny, 12.3. I watched him against Detroit. You know the Detroit Titans are 0-15? I think DePaul should schedule them. So should Louisville and Xavier.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up a good point with Wright State. On paper, they should be winning this conference. I don't like. We had Coach Nagy on. I clearly showed his frustration, or talked about his frustration. Yep. I think they're going to get better throughout the season. After having Coach Kaufman on, I am a Purdue Fort Wayne fan.
Yeah,
like I'm buying them. I think they're a team that will continue to get better. I think that they're 8-0 at home right now, and looking at the other teams in the Horizon League, again, it's any of the top 8 teams can beat any of the other top 8 teams, right? But I think Fort Wayne. I think Fort Wayne has that edge. Like, no one expected them to be this good this early, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we talked about on the interview with Coach Kaufman and Bello. And it is so rare to see a whole kind of new squad put together like Coach Kaufman did and them just clicking, right?
Right.
Like, I not only have them winning this league, but I'm going to have, once they do win this league, I'm going to have them getting at least a win in the NCAA tournament as well.
Ooh. The other team that I really like, and we've got to get him on the podcast, we will, is Coach Calhoun's team. Not that Calhoun, Jared Calhoun. Youngstown State, the Penguins, are 10-4. Mm-hmm. They just lost to Oakland by 7, and Oakland beat Xavier, which, like you said, everybody else does. They beat Cleveland State by 25 at home. And at the end of November, you've got 4 players averaging double digits, which is really good for the Penguins going into conference. Guard Brandon Rush, 13.1, and Ziggy Reed, 12.4. So I think that Youngstown State's a team.
Are you picking them?
No, I'm picking Fort Wayne.
You just said Youngstown State's the team.
Well, they're a good team. You're making it difficult for them.
Horizon League is good this year.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
The thing with some of these conferences, these mid-major, all these conferences, anybody can win any given day.
Yeah. I just hate to see Wright State so low right here. Like, they're such a better team than where they're at right now. They haven't won one game on the road all season.
Do you think we need to go and motivate them? I give some great speeches, motivational speeches.
Yeah, you can go in there and whatever episode Coach Nagy was, you were just quoting his father the entire time, just random stuff.
No, he was like, how did I agree to this shit? All right, let's go to the Ivy League. All right, let's clear the elephant out of the room. That would mean we have to get rid of me. Yale. I'm not picking Yale. I am picking Princeton. They're 12-1.
You picked Yale like 2 months ago, though.
I know. Well, that's the thing, and we'll do this. We'll do preseason next fall. We'll go through all the conferences and talk about each one and pick, and then we'll do it halfway, and then obviously the end we'll obviously have results. Princeton's 12-1. Xavier Lee. I mean, you got to pick a Canadian. You got to go with a Canadian. We built differently. I do like Cornell though.
Yeah,
and Harvard.
Princeton's going to cruise through this conference.
You think so?
Yep, they're a top 25 team. They belong in the top 25. They're probably end up a 4, 5, 6 seed in the tournament.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're better than what the national media has given them credit for.
Yep.
So.
Yep. All right, so let's go to the MAAC conference. I'm gonna go with Marist. 7-4. They were the 11th seed last year and lost to the finals to Iona, who Coach Pitino was the coach there. Lost to Notre Dame by 4, which is a good win or a good loss, and they beat Iona by 4. The only other team I can see is St. Peter's, who are 6-5. They could make some noise.
Okay. Whew. This is a tough one.
Because I know you watch a lot of Northeastern college, mid-major college basketball.
No, but I follow stats.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to throw out Fairfield.
Why?
Mark my they've won 6 in a row. Like, they're playing more freshmen and sophomores than they started the year, right? And I think that they've made some adjustments like the last 5-6 games that I think they're a much better team than I think anybody can win the conference. I'll put it that way, right? If I
agree with you.
If I had to pick like preseason, I probably would have said St. Peter's, and then I would have switched to Marist. Looking at stats and where things matter to me in picking teams, like I just really like what I like where Fairfield is at this time today.
You know what their nickname is?
What is it?
The Stags.
Oof. There you go.
Yeah.
So you heard it here first.
I know. I can't wait to go to the Final Four and ask people, what is the nickname of Fairfield? Or what is the nickname of DePaul?
Or what's a catamount?
You know who I'm going to ask.
Or can you spell mastodon?
Yeah, well, we're not.
All these trivia things that you've thrown out, you're trying to give people like academic lessons on this podcast.
Yes, they call me
who needs Shaq when LT is the big Aristotle?
Yes. Yes. All right, let's go to the MAAC, which I know very well. I live in MAAC country. You've got Kent State 7-5. They lost to St. Mary's by 20 on Friday. Great team. They're kind of struggling this year. Then Bowling Green's 9-3, lost to Western Kentucky by 7, lost to Oakland by 19. Best win is they beat Arkansas State by 6. And then you got the Zips. You got the Akron Zips. They're 8-4 right now. Coach Gross, we've had him on the podcast. Enrique Freeman, we've had him on the podcast. I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. You hear it here first. It's if Akron doesn't win it. I mean, they're good. They got Ali back. I mean, I love Greg Tribble. I mean, I love Sammy Hunter. I love Nate Johnson. I mean, I get to watch him and stuff like that. And I'm not picking it because I live in Akron and I got some allegiance to them. I just think they're that talented.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got Zips winning this, and I think that they could make some noise in the NCAA tournament come March.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we knew Enrique Freeman was who he was, right? But I mean, he is like with Ali out for the first 10, 11 games, whatever it was, right?
9 or 10,
Like,
yep.
yeah, I mean, Freeman stepped up. I mean, he is leading the country in rebounds right now, with 13.4 boards per game.
You know what else he's leading the nation in?
What's that?
Double doubles. He's tied.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is like he's going to be making some money next year in the NBA, and he's going to be one of those names that becomes everybody in the MAAC knows him, right? But he's going to be a national name by the end of the year.
Yeah, and I love Coach's Gross's energy, and I love all the coaches. They all follow us.
Yeah, how would you rate Akron's band?
Pretty good. I like them. I like standing behind them because they're getting like chirpy and aggressive. They say some stuff. It's great. I love the energy. But here's the thing: Akron cannot afford to have any bad losses. Bowling Green, like they just haven't played anybody. Like Akron's played St. Bonaventure, lost by 1. They lost to UNLV by 1. They lost to Utah State, who's like 12-1 or 11-1 or whatever they are. By 1 or 2
Bowling Green's won 7 in a row right now.
Yeah, but who have they played?
Any notable wins? Not really. It's so. Here's what I don't like. I am not a proponent of expanding the tournament field.
No,
right?
me either.
But the MAAC, I don't think the MAAC's going to get more than one team unless somebody else wins the conference tournament, and then Akron and that team gets in, right?
Yeah, but Akron's got to be like 25-5 to get in.
That's my point. And so it's like the MAAC deserves more than one team in, regardless of who wins the conference tournament.
A lot of these conferences do. Come on.
So then, how do you pick?
Listen, you can always
how do you not expand the field?
You can always expand the buffet. You can not expand the NCAA tournament.
Okay. Is that on the shirt you're going to create for everybody?
Yeah. Full Court Press podcast. You can expand the buffet. You can't expand. I got quotes.
You do have quotes. We should get a sponsorship from Ponderosa from the amount of.
There's only like one, and Dan Dockage dropped Trout or whatever the hell it's called. All right, I don't know how you're going to do it. I think they're going to get one bid, unfortunately, and I hope.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to say I hope.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Akron. I think Kent State can do something. I think Bowling Green. I was really liking NIU, and they kind of fizzled. Toledo's kind of struggled a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the only way they're going to get 2 bids if Akron can pretty much go, win 15 out of 18 or 14 out of 16 or whatever it is, and only have like 1 or 2 losses and have like maybe like be like 23-5 or 25-7 or 8, whatever it is. But I'm going to go Akron, as are you.
Yep, I'm Akron. I think they should roll through this conference, but yep. I think that they can be competitive and beat any Power 5, 6 school out there. Maybe not anyone, but they will compete. And I want to see Enrique Freeman and Ali in the tournament playing against one of those top tier schools.
Yep.
Because that's going to be a battle.
Okay, easiest pick for me. One of the easiest picks for me because I got a couple others conference picks. Mideastern, Norfolk State. 9-6, lost by 2 to UTEP, who I really like. Bradley played them in that surf tournament out in California. They beat Virginia Commonwealth, and they beat Illinois State. A little bit controversial at Illinois State, but I really like Norfolk.
You really like them, or you just like them in this conference?
I like them as a team. I mean, you go 9-6.
I have them winning the conference. I'm not sold on them that they can do much outside this conference, but... Yeah.
Give them a chance. That's what's happening now, okay? You got to give these teams some chances.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose by 2 to the Miners at UTEP. That's a good loss, okay? And the loss is a loss. But you beat Virginia Commonwealth, who is always a good mid-major program, and Illinois State's a pretty good mid-major program, too. Not maybe on the level of the Rams of VCU. But I like Norfolk State. I think they play a great style of basketball. Are they going to go – they're probably going to be a 15th seed. or a 16 seed. They're probably going to have to play in the play-in game in Dayton because, that's just what happens with some of these conferences. They kind of get the shaft. John Shaft.
I mean, is it the shaft if that's where they belong? No, it's not a bad thing. It's better than
not every year, but are you saying every year they should be in that, or is it because I think it
no?
depends
But
on
I mean,
the year,
it's
right?
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think this also goes back to scheduling.
Yep.
I mean, you want to see a team like Norfolk State prove themselves, and they really haven't had anybody where you can really tell if they're great or just good,
Yep.
So,
well, I think with the teams they've beaten and played, I think that's going to help them in conference. So that's why I'm picking Norfolk State. Not
all right. I remember. I mean, I used to be a big Coppin State fan.
Yeah.
Because they made the tournament a couple years, and I mean they're 1-13 this year. You just hate to see a team that.
Pick them.
No, absolutely not.
Pick them.
No. No. My point is, it's like I mean, some of these mid-major schools.
State. You pick Michigan.
I did pick
State.
Michigan
You didn't pick
State.
Coppin State.
I picked Tom Izzo. That's who I picked, like going into conference play.
Each to the All right, so we both got Norfolk State, Mid-Eastern Conference.
Yep.
Big up to Norfolk State. Missouri Valley. This is one that's going to be interesting because by this time next week, we're technically going to have the two teams that are favored to win it now with their thing, both on the podcast. So I will want to talk about Bradley. I think there's two teams that could be sneaky. Bradley, Coach Wardle, we've had him on the podcast. Connor Hickman's hurt. I don't know if he's back. I don't think he's back yet. Great player. I think he's their second or third leading scorer. Great coach. I watched him play a close game against Duquesne, undermanned, underhanded. So there's one that could maybe do some noise, Bradley. Not going to count him out. Missouri State. The women's team used to be called the Sugar Bears.
They were good. They're a top 5 team in the country for a long time. I think they had the leading women's scorer all time for a while.
Really? So Missouri State has beat St. Mary's. They lost to Tulsa by 1, beat Evansville by 12, and beat Kent State by 4. Missouri State could be good. But then you've got the two teams. Let's start with Indiana State. 11-2, beat Bradley by 8, beat Toledo and Pepperdine, lost to Alabama by 22. They played Michigan State, got handled by Michigan State. Opens conference play against Evansville on Wednesday, which will be tonight. Junior Isaiah Swoop, 19.6. Ryan Cromwell, 15.5. And Robbie Avila, both sophomores. And they're a young team. Indiana State's a young team. Swoop's a junior. Avila and Conwell are both sophomores. Okay? Then you got Drake, not the rapper. Drake, the university, the Bulldog. 11-2, beat Nevada, who I really like in the Mountain West, by 19. Slew by 6. Beat Missouri State, here's the kicker, by 17. Lost to UAB by 1. Open conference play against Illinois State. Tucker DeVries, Darnell Brody. I mean, I am personally going to go with Drake.
I'm going with Drake as well. I think they have enough power to get through this conference. Tucker DeVries is going to be Conference Player of the Year. They're 11-2. They should have won the game against UAB. They should be 12-1 right now. Mm-hmm. I've got Drake winning this conference. I think that they could do something in the NCAA tournament as well. I think they should be a solid 7 or 6-7 seed. I'll give them that. I think they're that good. And Indiana State is surprising me. You mentioned Missouri on paper. Missouri State looks good, right?
Yep.
I do think it's going to come down to. I mean, I think Drake's going to win this conference, and then it's going to come down to Indiana State or Missouri State. Here's a conference that I think should get
2 bids, maybe 3.
I think they should get 3. I think that they're going to get 2.
Yep.
So
we should do a bid breakdown, a bracket breakdown of what the conferences got last year and the year before and this year at some point, kind of our predictions. Be kind of fun. All right, so let's go to the Mountain West. This is the one I really struggled with because you got 5 teams that could honestly win the conference. And then you got Wyoming, Boise State. It's a good conference. A really good conference. Yeah. You got Utah State 12-1, lost to Bradley second game of the year. beat Akron by 3, Santa Clara by 2, San Fran by 1. Nevada's 3-1. I really like Nevada, the Wolfpack. Lost to Drake 72-53, then won 6 games in a row. Hawaii, Temple, TCU, Georgia Tech won the Diamond Head Classic over Christmas break. New Mexico, who I really like too, the Lobos 12-1. Second game of the year, lost to St. Mary's by 14. Here's what I don't like about New Mexico. Beat New Mexico State by 44 points, then 2 weeks later wins by 1. Colorado State's 12-1, enough said. And then San Diego State, man, no bad losses. They lost to Grand Canyon by 6 at Grand Canyon, beat 14th ranked BYU lost to them by 9, just beat Gonzaga by 10. Dane Ledee,
Yeah.
Coach Ducher.
Who you got?
I don't know. I'm between. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of Utah.
You're between 5 schools. You just listed them. We get it.
I know. I'm having a tough time. This one probably is going to keep me up at night. So I'm not going to take Utah State, and I'm not going to take New Mexico. Though I really like New Mexico. I love what Richard Pitino Jr. is doing in New Mexico. Mm-hmm. I just hope they don't replicate what they did last year. They're on fire end of January, and then they just kind of crap the bed. I don't think they're going to do that this year. I'm either between Colorado State, but you've said before is like one injury away. I really like Colorado State. I don't know, man. I'm either going to go with Colorado State, San Diego State, or Nevada.
Oh, wow.
Can I have
Shocker. I'm going Colorado State.
I knew you
all
were.
Day.
Because you Collins.
Man, I got to watch these guys. Like, they are. Isaiah Stevens is a different breed.
Yes.
Like, when watching that guy in person, like, there's always 2 or 3 guys like in the country that when you watch them in person, it's completely different than watching them on TV, right? Like they're just that much faster. Like,
yep.
His basketball IQ and how quickly he is able to make decisions.
Yep.
Like, is just insane to me. Like, I've watched this guy for 3 years now. Last year he had some injuries and whatnot, so I'm going to count that out. The year before that, he was playing with David Roddy, who was a first round pick, I think, in the NBA. And this year, like, Isaiah Stevens has stepped up. I would pick him. I think it's the Bob Cousy Award. I think that's what it's called, like the best point guard in the country.
But how do you see?
There's some.
Oh, go ahead.
There's some good point guards in the country right now.
Good point guards in Mountain West too. You got New Mexico, then you got Keenan Blackshear from Nevada, and that's where I'm struggling with. Because Keenan Blackshear's a stud.
The Mountain West is one of those conferences. Like, I think people who don't follow college basketball, I think that they're going to be surprised that the Mountain West could get like 5 bids, and they're going to be like, "Oh, how did they get 5 bids?" But my SEC team that went, 500 for the year, like, didn't get in. Like, I'm telling you, Isaiah Stevens, like, I thought going into this season, I was like, okay, he is going to be drafted. He'll go to the NBA. He'll probably play some, like, couple games here and there, kind of float around, move into your, like, watching him this year, though, like, he has NBA caliber speed. Yeah. And I don't think that there's a lot of point guards right now in the country who have his speed, his ability to make such quick decisions. Mm-hmm. He is an NBA caliber point guard where I don't think he'll be an NBA all-star, but if he is on a team with like a superstar, like, he will make those guys better. Like, he is just, he is so fast.
Okay, stop talking about him. I changed my pick. Colorado State.
I'm bought in, man.
All right. Okay, you sold me.
All right. San Diego State has. They're better than I thought that they were going to be, right? But I just don't think. And I also think that Nico Medved, head coach of Colorado State, I think he sees this as his year to do something in conference and NCAA. I don't think they're going to be as good as they are next year. And so I think that they're going out there. They're throwing everything out there that they can.
Okay. So we're both going to pick Colorado State. I really liked them against Creighton And we're actually going to hopefully catch a Colorado State game together. So we'll go for Colorado State. All right, so here's the one conference, the Northeast Conference. Not one team has a winning record. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to pick this one team, okay? So you got 3 teams you can look at. Merrimack Warriors, 6-7, almost beat Georgetown. Losing by 2. Coach Joe Gallo called out the officiating. I loved it. Mid-major officiating against the mid-majors. Jordan Durack is averaging 16.9. Farley Dickinson, who I believe just got new showers. Or no, they got a new video room.
You got a new media room, like a video room.
6-7, beat Buffalo by 6, who are struggling in the MAAC, first game of the year, 3-game losing skid. And then Central Connecticut State. 6-7, but here's the kicker. They beat UMass Lowell by 3, just beat Foreman by 3, 2-game winning streak. Patrick Sellers, who was an assistant at UConn for years. Alan Janine Rose, 14.9 points game. Excuse me. I am going to pick Central Connecticut State because I went on a recruiting trip there.
Sure, really? Yeah. How's their campus?
I don't remember.
What was that, 1974?
No.
What are we talking?
96, 98, I can't remember. Obviously didn't go.
I don't know.
Thank God we only have one more conference to talk about. Oh.
What's that?
Oh, maybe that's the Northeast Conference telling you who to pick.
They're calling me. They're like, yeah, you need to pick. So, oh man, I always like Sacred Heart for whatever reason, but I don't know. Like in this conference, I like them. I'm gonna go with Wagner. Like I mean, it's
Sacred Heart, but then you talk about Wagner all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Sacred Heart's 6. I mean, Wagner's the only team with a 500 record right now. So, I don't know. It's anybody can win this conference except who's LIU?
Long Island. That's Rod Strickland's the coach. They're awful.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's the head coach.
Yeah, Long Island and Stonehill, I think, are the 2 teams that can't win this conference. I think everyone else is potential. So can I pick the 2 teams that can't win this conference? And I like Rod Strickland. I apologize to him. I think he's a good coach.
You just ruined a potential huge podcast listener segment in LIU and Stonehill.
Let's get them both on the pod. Challenge me. Yeah. Tell me I'm wrong.
All right. So you're picking Wagner. And yep. I'm picking Central Connecticut State. All right, Ohio Valley, last conference, and we're going to do some more conferences do the rest of the conferences on episode number 3 of this one, or part 3. You got Morehead State, who's 10-4, lost to Indiana by 1 3 games ago. Just beat Southeastern Missouri by 19 on Sunday. Coach Preston Spradlin. Riley Minks, who was a transfer, 18.3 points a game, 9 rebounds a game. And then you got the Skyhawks. UT Martin, Coach Ryan Ritter. They just beat Tennessee Tech by 9, played Mississippi State, lost by 11 to McNeese State, who's hot, lost to North Carolina State. Guard Jordan Sears, the ball player, 19.9 points game. Jacob Cruz, 17.5 points game. I think it's a 2-team race in the Ohio Valley. I mean, you're going to throw in some random-ass team, obviously. Just quiet.
No, I'm looking at I'm looking at the stats from the conference right now.
Yeah. I mean,
I was gonna pick UT Martin, and I'm gonna stick with him.
Really? All right, I'm gonna pick. Yeah. I want to pick UT Martin, but I think we need some strife.
Morehead State's a good team.
I think what I like is they lost by 1 to Indiana 3 games ago. Yeah. That says something to me.
Yeah.
The problem is which Indiana team showed up.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to go with the Skyhawks just due to stats because you just need to throw one out there. I really like Jordan Sears. I've watched them play. Jacob Cruz, the ball player. Mm-hmm. Great team. I really like what Ryan Rader's doing at UT Martin. But Coach Spradlin, you're going to get my vote. Morehead State, baby.
All right. And a Skyhawk's a pretty cool mascot, too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's funny. You pick on mascots all of a sudden. Maybe
No,
we
I
should
don't.
do that. Maybe in the summer we'll do an episode on best mascot
Ooh.
college name, because I mean we're going to need filler in the summer.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, I like Ryan Ritter. I think Jordan Sears is a ball player. But yeah, to your point, it's between UT Martin and Morehead State. It was kind of a toss up for me.
Yep.
But I think Jordan Sears is I think he's the best player in the league.
Yep.
So
okay.
That's why I'm going with them.
All right, so that's part 2 of our conference predictions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We got one more. We're going to do the Pac-12, which is the last year of that conference. The Patriot League, SEC, Southern Conference, Southland, the SWAC, baby, Summit League, Western Conference, and the West Conference and the WAC. So thanks for listening.
So you're gonna make our listeners wait to hear your Pac-10 prediction?
Pac-12, yeah, I am. So
Pac-12, whatever you're gonna call it. Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Just share the love. Whatever you want to call it.